What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten channel. Time for our way too early power rankings for the upcoming 2024 college football season. Great year for the Big Ten, of course, with Michigan winning the national championship, and now you look ahead to Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA joining the conference. It's way too early to be doing this. We don't have all the information. We don't know which players are going to all come back. We don't know what the transfer portal is going to look like. Obviously, so much to learn this offseason, but this is just a very early stab at it. Again, this will change, and I'm not going to have a ton of information in this video. We really haven't even started doing the research that goes into next season. Really don't start that until after the deadline to declare for the NFL draft. But again, it's called way too early for a reason. We'll start at number 18, Indiana. They were not good this past season, obviously, arguably the worst team in the Big Ten, and this is a team that fired their coach, so they're starting over, and just not a lot of excitement there around Indiana. I expect them to be probably the worst team in the Big Ten. Moving ahead to 17, Purdue, another team that had a really rough year last year with a first-year head coach. I'm not sure if they made the right hire there. Time will tell, but I'm not really buying Purdue right now. I think they're going to struggle again in 2024. Again, my opinion may change as we get into this and start digging into the rosters and seeing who all's coming back and who's coming to these teams through the transfer portal. But Purdue right now at 17. Number 16, Illinois, team that I thought would be a lot better last year. Really a big disappointment. And you just wonder about their style of football. Is it going to work? The Big Ten really this past season, a lot of good defenses, a lot of not so great offenses. But with these teams coming in from the Pac-12, you might have to get a little bit better offensively if you're Illinois. And again, it's a team that just really struggled this year. Big time disappointment. I've got them at number 16. Number 15, Minnesota, another team that really disappointed this past season. This is a team that had consistently been a 7 or 8 win team really every year, and then kind of out of nowhere this past season, it didn't work out for Minnesota. They had a rough year, and so is the future bright for the Gophers? Not really. Again, Big Ten's just going to get tougher and tougher with these new teams. Maybe this is another team that I'll feel a little bit better about as we get into the offseason and I do a little bit more research and take a look at these rosters. But right now, I'd put them at 15. Number 14, I put Michigan State. A new coach comes in. I actually think this team has a chance to have a pretty quick turnaround, not to be a contender in the Big Ten, but to be a much better team. I think they've already added some pieces in the transfer portal. I think they'll add more. And obviously a proven coach. I think Michigan State has a chance to be pretty good this year. Right now, though, I've got them at 14. Number 13 is Nebraska. Matt Rule in his second year. What will they do? I was just doing their roster the other day, and this team was just not very good this past season. A lot of players actually underperformed from where they were, at least statistically, in the year before Matt Rule got there. So I think it's just kind of a complete rebuild there. It's going to take a little bit of time. I think probably you'll see some improvement from them next year, but I don't think it's going to be a ton. Maybe year 3 is when we see a big jump from Nebraska, but right now I've got them at 13. Number 12 is Rutgers, a team that really talent-wise is probably near the bottom of this conference, but Greg Schiano's done a great job of utilizing his and getting the best out of his players. This is a team that surprised this year, had a pretty good season, and I expect them to be maybe a bowl team again next year. Number 11, UCLA, our first newcomer in the power rankings. How are they going to fit in the Big Ten? That'll be the big question mark, of course, with all these new teams. Chip Kelly on the hot seat a little bit maybe this past season. Maybe some pressure for him. Can they get it done? Dante Moore transfers out of there, which was a bit of a head scratcher. So I don't know what to expect from UCLA. I expect them to be a competitive team, but probably not in the top half of the Big Ten. Number 10 is Maryland, a team that loses Talia Tagovailoa, but you saw them in the bowl game. The future looks pretty bright for Maryland. They went out and dismantled Auburn in that bowl game. So I think Maryland has a chance to be, they're kind of a steady 7-5 type team, and I don't really see that changing. I've got them at number 10. And believe it or not, number 10, or number 9, I should say, is in the top half of the conference because there are 18 teams now. So Northwestern, our first team in the top half, really a surprise team this past season. Can they build on that? Again, looking at the rosters and everything as we get into the offseason, my opinion may change on Northwestern. Maybe they really overperform. Maybe they lose a ton, and they're going to take a step back. But right now, again, based off of how they finish the season and the momentum that they have as a program, I've got them at number 9. Number 8 is Iowa. Can the offense get fixed? What are they going to do? Are they going to be able to have at least a decent offense? Because we know the defense will be good. It always is. And it'll be the same question for Iowa. If the offense can get better, they could have a pretty good season. I get a really good season because the defense, again, should be good. But if they struggle again offensively, they're going to be probably middle of the pack in the Big Ten. Number 7, USC. Boy, this is a tough one to figure out. Really, really disappointing team this past season. Caleb Williams will be gone. You look at this roster, and again, they've really underperformed, especially on defense. They still got weapons on offense, so I don't really know what to expect from USC. Probably one of the biggest question marks in the country. Lincoln Riley, is he just a fraud? Is he just not a good coach and he just inherited a great team at Oklahoma? Or is he going to get this thing figured out? We'll find out pretty quick with USC. Number 6 is Wisconsin. I do believe Luke Fickell's got this program headed in the right direction. Didn't beat LSU in their bowl game, but you could see this team at times show their potential. Had some injuries, lost some games that really they had no business losing. I think they take a step forward, a big step forward this season. I think this is potentially a top 25 team, and I think it's a team that'll be in the top half of the Big Ten. So number 6 for me is Wisconsin. And number 5 is Washington. You've got some great players they'll be losing, obviously, and I haven't really sat down and looked at who all is going to be coming back. We haven't gotten all those decisions. Again, that's why this is a way too early power ranking. But I do expect them to lose several key players. Obviously, Penix will be gone, and I think Washington will be good, but maybe not in that very top tier of the Big Ten. I think that probably comes down to these top 4 teams. Starting with Penn State at number 4, Drew Aller will be back. They've got great running backs coming back. I mean, this team, if they can get their offense figured out and get a little bit more explosive on that side of the ball, Penn State can be really good and potentially even win the Big Ten. So I think the potential is there for this team. Will we actually see that play out? I don't know. I've got Penn State here at number 4 for now. Number 3 is Ohio State. I think the defense, we saw a huge jump for them this past season on defense. I think that'll continue. They'll be good on that side of the ball. The offense, can they get back to the offenses that they've had before this past season? Will Howard steps in. I think that he's going to be good, but I don't know if he's going to be a Heisman contender. And obviously they lose some great receivers. So Ohio State's an interesting one. I think they have potential once again to be a playoff contender, especially with it now being a 12-team playoff. So for sure they're a contender. But you have some question marks. So we'll see about the Buckeyes. Number 2 is Michigan. Really just depends on who all comes back. If everybody comes back that has a chance to come back, this team should be number 1. I do expect them to lose a lot of those key players, especially after winning a national championship. So right now I've got Michigan at 2. We'll see who comes back. They could wind up at 1. They could wind up at 4 or 5. Again, really just need to see what that roster looks like. And then number 1 for me is Oregon. I think Oregon is in great shape with Dylan Gabriel stepping in at quarterback. A lot of guys coming back. This is a team that I think right now would be the front runner in the Big Ten. But like I said, it's January 10th. Long ways to go before we really kind of figure out what these teams are going to look like. This is just a way too early power ranking. How would you rank the teams? Let me know down in the comments below.